but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life feels lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds, and when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a thrilling night of virtual racing action here on iRacing. I'm Dave Regal in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth, and I'm excited to bring you all the live coverage from the rolling hills of the Pocono Mountains at the Tricky Triangle. Tonight, the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series promises to be a showcase of skill, strategy, and sheer speed as some of the best sim racers from around the world go head-to-head in this highly competitive environment. iRacing is where the virtual meets the real, offering an incredibly immersive experience that mirrors the intensity and precision of actual motorsports. The drivers have put in countless hours of practice perfecting every turn and mastering the art of virtual racing. This track is digitally rendered to perfection, capturing every bump, curve, and straightaway, setting the stage for what promises to be an electrifying race. We'll be bringing you all the action from start to finish, including expert analysis, driver interviews, and in-depth commentary on the strategies at play. From daring overtakes to split-second decisions, every moment counts, and I'll be here to guide you through it all, from the green flag to the checkered flag, right here on Sim Racing Media. And folks, Glad to be with you here at Pocono Raceway, the Tricky Triangle, just a little bit up the road from Broadheadsville, Pennsylvania in Long Pond. As, of course, Long Pond Road runs along that short straightaway here on the left-hand side of your screen. The front stretch coming here in the foreground and the Long Pond stretch in the background there. This racetrack is filled with excitement, and we cannot wait to get ready to rock and roll tonight as we get underway. 81 degrees in the stands tonight with qualifying all but wrapped up here, and 115 degrees the track temperature during qualifying. Now, what that's going to do is really loosen up these race cars, and I mean, quite frankly, why wouldn't you want a loose race car? Because the last I checked, loose is fast. Right now, sitting atop the pile in qualifying is Eugenio Alonso. Sylvain Joly running just behind him. But just coming out on the racetrack now is our winning streak owner, Parker Retzlaff. He finished 32nd here on Saturday afternoon at the Tricky Triangle. And, of course, as he comes out here in the number 5 Funkaway Chevrolet and makes that first lap complete, now he comes past and he first is going to go, wow, P1 at 54.68 seconds. Parker Retzlaff, a man on a mission. And when I say on a winning streak, I mean this guy has been literally unstoppable. I mean, Parker over the last couple of weeks has just been incredible. I mean, you know, here we are, and this is for the SNN series. Of course, now I'm clicked into the wrong one. Why not? Parker has been basically unbeatable here in Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series action. He's won the last 4 races at Iowa, New Hampshire, Nashville, and Chicago's street course. Of course, his first win of the season came way back on April 1st for April Fool's Day at Richmond after 255 laps, and this young man has just been on fire. Now, in the real world, Parker, of course, didn't have such a great day here in the Pocono Mountains. Like I said, he finished 32nd after, starting all the way up there in 13th. But tonight, it looks like he's going to roll off in pole position. Almost nobody has anything for him. He's the only driver right now to break that 54-second time. Ethan Ball finishing up his qualifying effort from Princeton, West Virginia. He goes 8th fastest, and these drivers have just been this side of incredible. In fact, we're going to get a chance here to talk with Parker in just a moment as we get ready to pull him on down. Here he is. Hey, Parker, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
I got you.
4 wins in a row. We were just talking off air a little bit ago, kind of a rough go for you on Saturday here, finishing 32nd after qualifying 13th. What's going to be the strategy here tonight as you go for win number 5 in a row?
I mean, the strategy is just to, first and foremost, just make it to the end of this race. I mean, not really sure how the race is going to go, but I think I got a pretty good car so far, so I'm going to try and see how the track changes, see what changes I got to make during the race, and hopefully we can win another one.
Yeah, I mean, right now, track temperature 115 degrees. I mean, hopefully 114. Hopefully that track temperature comes down to tighten things up a little bit on the asphalt. What would be your preference out here, hotter or cooler on the asphalt?
Oh, I'm good if it just keeps getting hotter.
All right, man. Well, listen, good luck tonight as we go ahead and cut you loose. Looks like JAR TCR is going to be dominant tonight as we get warm-up underway, so good luck, buddy.
Thank you.
That, of course, the voice of Parker Retzlaff. Will get him moved on back up in here to the JAR TCR stable. And, of course, we would be remiss if we didn't talk to our current points leader. And, all things considered, things are really starting to heat up. We'll have that graphic back for you next week as things kind of got a little hiccupy. But Brandon Minto still sits atop the pile. Your top 4 in points remains unchanged. Minto, McConville, Alonso, and Jolie all up there, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let's see if we can get a hold of Brandon Minto out of Norman, Oklahoma. And come on. A little click here, a click there. Let's see if we can get a hold of Minto. Hey, Brandon, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Yes, sir. I got you, Dave.
Buddy, listen, you still lead the points here, but things are starting to tighten up. I mean, what are you thinking as we get ready to rock and roll here at the Tricky Triangle tonight?
I'm thinking I don't like seeing. I think Mike McConville qualified P2, so he's going to have a lot of speed, and I think he's second in the standings. So I'm just going to have to try to score some points get some stage points, and hopefully finish better than him. I don't know if anybody's going to be able to beat Parker with the run that he's been on recently.
Yeah, Parker's got 4 wins in a row. I was just talking to him. He finished 32nd in the real race on Saturday after kind of a rough go here. But, yeah, Mike McConville trails you by just 37 points in our standings, and Eugenio is only a couple of points behind him, 47 to be exact. But, things getting pretty hairy deeper in the standings. However, 37 points, you've got a decent cushion. And, I mean, for you, obviously, victory lane is something that you've got to come home with in the next couple of weeks here.
Absolutely. I would love to get a win. Like Pocono, this is one of my favorite tracks to actually drive, believe it or not, with how much I hate using the brake pedal. But it's just every turn's a little different. It's a fun track to drive. I just wish I got to dedicate a little bit more time this weekend to practicing and working on the setup. But yeah, I'm just hoping for a good car, good race, good finish. Hopefully I can get a win. Hopefully something happens to Parker. I can say that because it's a virtual racing league, so he won't. Hopefully he won't get hurt. But
if somebody takes you out, if somebody takes you out, at least it only hurts for a second if you've got a butt kicker.
Yeah, absolutely. Like hopefully he hits a wall or something. No, I'm just kidding. I like racing against Parker. He's always the class act out here, always racing everybody clean, putting on a show, and it's always fun racing against him. Racing against the actual professionals, it's a great time.
Absolutely. All right, buddy. Well, listen, good luck tonight. We're going to get you back up on into your team chat as you ride solo tonight, and hopefully we see some success here out of the number 12.
Oh, I sure hope so, Dave.
That the voice of Brandon Minto out of Norman, Oklahoma, and last but sir, and I don't see him anymore, the driver, the 51, not available right now, as looks like he just dropped out of the way, so unfortunately we won't be able to talk to John Bawalda. Trent Curtis right now here in open warm-ups. He goes fast time right now at 55:31 as we see Trent in the 13. Of course, he is the TC part of JAR TCR. And Trent Curtis spent a little bit of time in central Pennsylvania over the weekend out in Selinsgrove. And I'll tell you what, those guys from the JAR TCR team are going to be hard to beat. We'll take a look at your qualifying results here. As it appears, Parker Retzlaff going to be fast time at 54.68 for McConville, going to sit on the outside. So 2 JAR TCR teammates on the front row. We'll take a look at that in just a few moments. We want to thank everybody for tuning in here to the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. Glad to have everybody with us tonight as we get ready to rock and roll here at the Tricky Triangle. Trent Curtis bringing it in pit side here is Ben Garrity out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, gets the 65 Hooters machine warmed up. And here we go, getting ready to saddle up and celebrate everything that is Pocono Raceway tonight. Of course, we've got a pretty decently long race here, all things considered, for the Xfinity Series. It's going to be a tight night. 90 laps with Stage 1 ending at lap number 20, Stage 2 going to conclude at the end of lap number 40. Drivers going to have 4 sets of tires tonight, so that's going to make things pretty interesting, especially, trying to break down those pit strategies. And I mean, all things considered, I think we're going to see a lot of these drivers try to take everything to the max. I mean, 22 laps is about the average here, 22 and a half laps. If you try to use all 4 sets of your tires, I think some of these drivers, especially going between Stage 1 and 2, Stage 1, they're going to come down, make some adjustments, get some new tires. Stage 2, we're going to see more of those moves. But here we go, as drivers have gotten into their vehicles. Parker Retzlaff, He's going to be your pole sitter. We see him here in the number 5 Funkaway Chevrolet. He'll be joined on the front row by teammate Mike McConville out of Cape May, New Jersey. Eugenio Alonso and Ben Garrity going to be featured in row number 2, while row 3 going to be held down by Saint Eustache, Quebec native Sylvain Joly alongside of Drew Glover from North Carolina. Nick Hansen mbopping his way through the point standings alongside of Aaron Mack, while Ethan Ball and Brandon Minto round out your top 10. Anthony Savignano and Noah Hamilton going to be starting in 11th and 12th in row number 6, while row 7 going to be anchored by Kavaja Holt and Brockton Packard out of Zephyr Hills, Florida. Claude Furling and Logan Giesbrecht from Rockwood, Ontario going to be in row number 8, while row 9 featuring Boston, Massachusetts native Daniel Moynihan and Trent Curtis from Clarence Center, New York in row number 9. Row 10 rounding out your top 20 is Ron Fitting and John Bawalda, while Chris Custer and Tony Burt restarting here in row number 11. Timothy Cook and Diego Rodriguez out of Adrian, Michigan get started here in row 12, while row 13 is going to be home to Gabriel Lafreniere and Sam Boland. Chris Claude and Richard Pruitt going to be here in row number 14, while Michael Pilardi and Mason Hoffner start off in row number 15. Row 16 going to feature Keith Black and Parker Retzlaff. There he is, as he may be having some kind of a connection issue. And Dan Morgan in row 16, while Andrew Deemer from Ashtabula, Ohio, going to be starting in row number 17 alongside Schwenksville, Pennsylvania native Rich Jett. And starting shotgun on the field tonight, getting ready to take the green flag out of Chapel Hill, North Carolina, is Steve Herring. 35 drivers ready to take the green flag. John Wilco out of McAdoo, Pennsylvania, and Matt Mackin going to be starting from pit road, as Parker Retzlaff may be having some kind of a connection difficulty here. While the iRacing.com pace car brings us through the turn 3 complex, the only thing that's left to do is it's time to wipe the visor and adjust the 5-point harness. Grandma, grab some pierogies and a Yingling beer. Race fans, it's show time! Drivers getting themselves settled in, doing that front stretch sweep as we've seen week after week here. As we get ready to watch everybody dive into turn 1 side by side, we set ourselves up here on the exit of turn 1, and we can see drivers looking for any kind of real estate here as they come whizzing past our cameraman, getting set up here for the backstretch. Mike McConville goes side by side with Parker Retzlaff and takes away the lead for the time being, as Mike McConville seems to have the number of Parker Retzlaff, probably the only driver that's able to overtake him here in the early part of this race. As we see them coming double file down the short stretch and into turn 3, the digger cam going to pick us up here as we get ready to fire back onto the front stretch. Who's it going to be to lead lap number 1 at Pocono? Side by side coming down the front stretch, they are John Force style, and Mike McConville out of Cape May, New Jersey, overtakes Parker Retzlaff on lap number 1 to get credit for the lead of that lap. Now they go here and haul it down into turn number 1, while Retzlaff leads McConville and does his best to now try to go wheel to wheel coming out of turn 1. They are sitting here like a couple of kids in the back seat of that station wagon, duking it out, while the rest of the field is absolutely clawing at one another for some type of supremacy here on the racetrack tonight. McConville now leading Retzlaff, but Retzlaff stealing it back. They're exchanging blows real quick here, as Retzlaff, who finished 32nd on Saturday, now leads McConville by about 0.2 of a second, hauling it down into turn number 3, getting ready to go back to the front stretch. McConville able to have a better entry on 3, not sure what's going on with the Funkaway Chevrolet, as Ben Garrity, the Pittsburgh native, says, Yins can come up here and fight, but I'm coming for more, as he is now almost bump drafting Parker Retzlaff down the front stretch. They're hauling it back toward turn number 1. 3, 2, 1, say the cones, and here we go. Making a heck of a battle here on lap number 3. These drivers with just 90 laps have really turned up the intensity tonight. As we see some wall rubbing here, Ben Garrity goes fast time at 55.73 for this race. I mean, right now he's the only driver to go sub 56, as he and now Eugenio Alonso goes 55.90. That was Eugenio's fast time out of Buenos Aires. Of course, we can see Eugenio here in the 26 machine driving into turn number 3, and he's just ahead of Drew Glover. Now, Drew Glover, new to the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series League, as he rolls here in his Toyota Supra. And, he's one of the few Toyota drivers here in the field, as he's from just out in North Carolina. Just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Toyotas in the field. Everybody else very Chevy heavy, as just 6 Fords in the field as well. So obviously the blue ovals and those Toyota Lassos, or whatever they want to call them, not near as popular as the bow tie tonight. And why wouldn't you trust a guy who sells you a car while he wears a bow tie, as Mike McConville now takes the lead back from Parker Retzlaff, as they're duking it out ahead of Ben Garrity. As Ben Garrity, I keep saying Ben Garrity like it's all one word, like he's a rabbi. Rabbi Ben Garrity here in the 65. He's trailing Parker Retzlaff by 7/10 of a second coming into turn 3, as they are still side by side getting ready to come down the front stretch. We widen things out to the blimp here from SRM, and as they cross the start-finish line, they're literally neck and neck, less than 1/10 of a second between them, 300th of a second separating these two drivers as they drive into turn number 1. And if you take a note here, see that Horrocks sign? That's Horrocks Fire Equipment and Apparatus, proud purveyors of Kovach mechanical equipment, Kovach mobile equipment, that is, which was formerly housed just a few miles down the road here in Nesquehoning, Pennsylvania. Of course, if you're here live at the racetrack, I encourage all of you to tune into 105.5 WMGH. You can check us out on your app store, whether it's Google Play or Apple, and you can download the WMGH 105.5 FM app. And you can hear yours truly every day, as our station just a few minutes away from the racetrack here in the beautiful Pocono Mountains in Pennsylvania, up in the 570. Mike McConville and Parker Retzlaff still duking it out early here as they head on down the front stretch. Nobody seems to want to give up that lead, and who would blame them? But if you're going to fight somebody, at least fight your teammate, as here we go with McConville now doing the old do-si-do to look to the inside of Retzlaff. They are battling it out something fierce. While we look back here, John Bawalda alongside of Claude Furland in the 43. The 51 and the 43 always seem to be near one another on the racetrack, just ahead of the 50, or just behind the 53 of Daniel Moynihan, who's, of course, running on that Duncan Midnight. I'm guessing that he was there in Lehighton, Pennsylvania, just a few minutes before, swinging through the only thing worth stopping for in Lehighton, which is the only Dunkin' Donuts for literally 30 miles. As when you talk about Pocono Raceway, and you say, well, whoa! Who is that back there in the 50? That's Anthony Savignano going for a ride. Oh, my goodness. First caution of the night here on lap number 7. Good Lord. As we're going to look and see what happened from him. Here he was getting to the inside of the 31. That's Aaron Mack. And he's drifting up right. Oh, he got right into Aaron Mack. He just tightened up, and boom went the proverbial dynamite. Let's see if we can maybe catch a little bit of this from Aaron Mack's perspective here. Aaron Mack currently being scored in 7th position somehow. As we're going to take a quick ride with him on his nose. And here comes Savignano right in front of him. And my God, that's definitely not what anybody wanted to see. Let's see if we can look at that from Savignano's perspective, because I'm fairly certain he's not a happy camper right about now. Savignano with one heck of a run here into turn number 3. He looks out the rear, and here we go. He comes right up in and just pirouettes, takes another hit. There goes the engine. We hear that pop, and everybody just dodging for cover. Ay vey. What a night, or what a way to start here for Anthony Savignano. And, sometimes I feel like if it wasn't for bad luck, some of these drivers would have no luck at all. We're going to watch this again from up here in the blimp as we watch Savignano wash up here into the 31. He just got tight coming through turn 3. And, there's the 00 of Kavaja Holt coming in and just finishing the job. And we'll see if we can see that from Kavaja's perspective, because I'm guessing he didn't mean to do that, or at least most people wouldn't be. That was just rough to watch. We're going to see this one more time from Kavaja's perspective, as Kavaja's going to see the wreck happening in front of him, and he really had no place to go, as he had the 45 along his side. And my God, what a way to end your night. And I mean, Kavaja spinning the tire, as obviously the front axle is completely snapped off there. So that's going to shuffle some things around here. A couple of drivers deciding that they're going to come down pit road early. Drew Glover, Brockton Packard, Richard Pruitt. Parker Retzlaff and Mike McConville, Rich Jett, they all come down pit road. Then so does Gabriel Lafreniere, Andrew Deemer, Steve Herring, John Wilco out of McAdoo, Pennsylvania. And John Wilco, this is truly a home track for him, as McAdoo just a short drive away from Pocono Raceway. In fact, John Wilco's drive is exactly 43 minutes, and of course that's a quick run up I-81 and then across I-80. Of course, you can take the scenic route across 424 and go up to 940 that way, which is a nice ride. Of course, you can pass through Freeland, Hickory Hills, and some of the other tiny towns up here in Pennsylvania. It's a gorgeous ride through that country, as John Wilco, our native son here tonight, right now running, let's see where he might be, way back here in 34th, so not sure what he's doing down pit road. And of course, I can never find John in our Discord. So John, if you're paying attention, get into Discord so I can break your stones every now and then, so we can have a little chatty chat here on the old race radio. Ben Garrity out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, he's going to lead us back to green alongside of Eugenio Alonso out of the Jack Down Motorsports stable. He's got the number 26 Chevrolet Camaro getting ready to crank up to crazy. As I mentioned, some of these drivers did come down pit road, but they don't even start until back in 22nd. Nine laps in the books. It'll be 10 to go next time by in stage number one, as Ben Garrity leads us back to green. The iRacing.com pace car with control of the field for the time being, as we see that driver of the pace car leading us through, gets himself all settled in here. Of course, we hope that this race doesn't turn into an iPacing event, that's for sure, as the iRacing.com pace car peels on down pit road. Ben Garrity with control of the field in the 65 Hooters machine gets a little love tap from the 08 of Sylvain Joly, and off we go on lap number 10. All of a sudden, Nick Hansen and Eugenio Alonso all kinds of locked up here on lap number 10, as we're going to ride along with Nick Hansen for the time being. We can see that he's got himself cranked up to crazy behind Eugenio, as they're just getting themselves back up to speed. He looks to the inside here, but Eugenio already knows the play as he drifts down over top of the tunnel turn and throws himself onto the short stretch down toward turn 3. Of course, I keep saying Nick Hansen mbops his way through the field, and most of you folks out there in YouTube land don't even know what mbop would mean, as looks like Zachary, Young Camel saying 53 equals W. You can count on that, as of course I'm always cheering on some of these drivers, especially like Daniel Moynihan. Charlene McConville cheering on Mikey McConville. Hi, Charlene, it's good to see you tonight. Spider Mike 61 saying good luck 65. Hello, Spider Mike, as looks like Charlene still cheering on Mikey Mack. Of course, out of Cape May, New Jersey. Down the shore, if you will. And the Michigan Rocker cheering on Brandon Minto, our points leader. And let's see where Brandon is right now. He's got to be buried here in the standings somewhere, as he currently runs in 5th position. Kind of in a comfortable spot right now for him. A half second to Hansen, a quarter second back to Ethan Ball. And as far as I'm concerned, Ethan Ball being about a quarter second back, 2/10 now, I mean, that's a pretty comfortable area for him to be in. So it enables Brandon Minto maybe to save a little bit of tire and hold those drivers behind him. He can drive a little bit defensively, but, you know, without being aggressive, as he's now trying to draft his way up to the rear bumper of Nick Hansen. Of course, Hansen, Jolie, and Alonso all rolling around just behind Ben Garrity, who leads this piece from about 3/10 of a second ahead of Sylvain Jolie. As we go on board and look back, this is what Ben Garrity can see out of the rearview mirror, an angry Canadian. I know that sounds weird. An angry Canadian is kind of like a compassionate conservative or a Volvo with a gun rack. As we get rocking and rolling here on lap number 12, drivers all over the racetrack challenging one another early on in this piece, as we see Daniel Moynihan peeking to the inside of Noah Hamilton, as Hamilton rides that 45 machine on the high side, coming through turn 3 back toward the front stretch. And all of a sudden, the Cane's Fried Chicken, which, by the way, we've got to talk about Cane's Fried Chicken. But you know, right now that Cane's machine maybe needing a cane to try to claw his way back up here to Daniel Moynihan, as Trent Curtis, after qualifying in 18th position, runs the Celsius number 13 machine up here in 7th position. So, you know, a lot of these drivers moving in a good direction. Parker Retzlaff on the recovery drive, now up into 12th position. He's working his way back toward the lead and basically having to pick his way through these drivers. Now he's alongside of John Bawalda, driver the number 51. I wanted to try to get a hold of John and talk to him about his experience at Pocono over the weekend. And unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to chat with him before tonight's race. Now we see Sam Bolin in the 67. He's working just behind his teammate John Bawalda, as these drivers here on lap number 13 looking to see who's going to get it done, as we're 7 laps to go, 6 next time by here from Pocono Raceway. Dave Regal in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth, bringing you all the live action from here at the Tricky Triangle. And believe you me, this racetrack is one of the best on the NASCAR circuit. I know that we lost our second date. Of course, they used to be kind of close together, which to me didn't make a whole lot of sense. You know, one race was in June, the other was in July, and wow! Eugenio Alonso shooting across the racetrack. Oh, God, he's coming back up into traffic. Hold the brake, hold the brake, hold the brake. As Eugenio comes to a peaceful rest here. Let's see what happened here to Eugenio Alonso, as he's just ahead of the 99. No contact. Oh, almost too close to call. That's the 99 of Nick Hansen, as it sends Eugenio spinning helplessly down the backstretch. Let's go ahead and watch this from the 99's perspective. Ever so gentle, the contact between the 99 and Eugenio Alonso. We'll take a look here, maybe from a different standpoint. As we're going to ride along here on the nose, we'll see what happens, as Eugenio was definitely loose coming out of turn 1, going down the backstretch. A little bit of contact, and there goes Eugenio, faced the wrong direction. Fortunately, nobody else involved in this wreck, and you know, sometimes you really can't ask for too much more. As we go ahead and look for Eugenio once again, as he was getting himself back underway here. Let's see if maybe we can see from his perspective what happened. There's a little love tap there from Hansen. Eugenio drifts back up in front of him. There's the contact, and that's what sends Eugenio down into the wall. Now, it doesn't look like he gets too much damage, and he gets on the binders just in time to get himself back and settled here on the backstretch, but obviously that's going to cook a set of tires for him, as it's going to be about 5 laps to go here in stage number 1, as we're working our way toward lap number 20. Ben Garrity, your race leader right now, just ahead of Sylvain Joly and Nick Hansen running in P3. Brandon Minto, Ethan Ball, Trent Curtis, Daniel Moynihan, Noah Hamilton, Parker Retzlaff, and Claude Ferlin round out your top 10. While, of course, John Bawalda runs in 11th position right now. Let's see if John Bawalda got back into his race chat. And let's see here, Jack Dow Motorsports. There he is. Hey, John, it's Dave up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
What's up, man?
Hey, man, you're holding down 10th position right now. You're doing pretty well tonight. You're up 10 after qualifying in 20th. I know that you were going up to Pocono this weekend. What did you learn from watching the real-life race, and how are you translating that to the sim?
Well, I learned that I couldn't see anything from where I was at in the infield. I don't know. It was a good time. I had fun. Don't really have a cut set that I'm really very confident in. So as well as I'm doing is just as surprising to me as it is probably to you as well. So I'm just trying to hang on and get whatever points this evening. If I can steal some stage points at this point, that's really what it is. It's just, just trying to steal stage points and keep this thing in one piece till the end of the night.
Yeah, stage points are so important in this league. I mean, I see a lot of guys, they might have a great stage 1 and 2. They get taken out in 3, and they still gain spots in the standings. I mean, it's been a long season now. Your teammate, Eugenio, he just got spun out there by Nick Hansen, and, it looked really tough. But how's Eugenio taking the results of that?
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously not happy about it, but being locked into the playoffs definitely eases eases the sore of it all, I'm sure. So he'll be back next week, and the team as a whole, we didn't really have much to feel very confident about. So the fact that he was even up there running, I don't even know what position he was in when it happened, but well, I don't know, what can you do?
It's a rough night on the racetrack. It happens to all of us, and I always hate when it's people that I'm here cheering for. I mean, everybody there in the Jack Dow Motorsports, is such a great driver. I mean, you've got a really good group of guys working around you, so I know you guys will put it together and you'll get something done here in the next couple of weeks to try to lock everybody into the playoffs.
Yeah, that'd be great. I just want to give a quick shout out to Parker Retzlaff for obviously it's right in front of me at the moment on the track, but I mean, I pulled into Pocono Raceway infield camping area this weekend and was getting ready to message him, let him know that I was, had just showed up, and he sought me out and messaged me on Facebook, say, hey, where are you? And shortly, 15-20 minutes after that, him and Ethan Ball were pulling up on their golf cart, and we hung out for quite a while, longer than I expected. A busy Xfinity driver to hang out, and it was a good time. So just shout out to Parker, and hopefully I can follow him up and pick up a couple spots here at this restart.
Yeah, if you're gonna follow somebody, it might as well be the guy who knows how to get around here in real life. So listen, man, I know that you had a good time up there. I got to chat with you about that later. And listen, good luck tonight, and we'll see what happens moving forward.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Thank you.
Of course, that's the chief cook and bottle washer, John Bawalda of Jack Dow Motorsports. And, folks, I encourage everybody to check out Jack Dow Motorsports. What a cool group of people over there. And, of course, his whole team is just phenomenal. And, the guys that he has assembled over the last couple of years are just great drivers from start to finish, whether they get taken out or not. And here it is, Ben Garrity with control of the field. The iRacing.com pace car is off. And here we go, with 2 laps to go this time by in stage number 1. Ben Garrity gets a good jump over Nick Hansen and Sylvain Joly. Nick Hansen, of course, involved in that last incident with Eugenio Alonso out of Buenos Aires. And right now, holding on the Rally Drum Premium Lager number 99 Chevrolet. He's about to be under assault from Parker Retzlaff. And as Parker works from behind him, let's go on board and see how he's going to get around. And I mean, what a run he's got here to the inside of Nick Hansen. as Nick Hansen has nothing for him. Parker just driving past as if he doesn't even exist. I mean, quite frankly, that's just incredible to watch as Parker makes lunch meat out of Nick Hansen and now sets his sights here on race leader Ben Garrity out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. This might actually be a stage where maybe Parker doesn't win for a change here in this league. And you know, I would be a fool if I told you that my money, the smart money, is laid on Parker. But you know, of course, here we are with Ben Garrity leading this race around two more times here in stage one. And behind Parker, Nick Hansen still battling it out, trying to get around Daniel Moynihan, who runs in 4th position right now. And for you folks that get a chance to watch Daniel Moynihan, I mean, watch this guy work. He is a very patient driver here in the 53. And everything that we see week in and week out is just incredible from him as we work our way through turn number 3 and back toward the front stretch as we're here on lap number 19. And now as they cross the start-finish line, Ben Garrity getting ready to have to hold off Parker Retzlaff. He's trying to break up that draft in the final lap of stage number 1. Parker Retzlaff lays down the fast time at 55.56 seconds. The only one of, 4 drivers. And by the way, they're all from, well, not all of them, Sylvain Joly, I'm sorry, running in that JAR TCR stable. Now here on the final lap of stage number 1, Ben Garrity out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania leads the way here just ahead of Parker Retzlaff, and Parker just got a crazy run on him coming into 2 and gives him the, wow, here he is pushing him down the short stretch. That's going to cause Ben Garrity to try to really have to hold him off as he throws it here into turn number 3. They're going to be side by side at the end of stage number 1, and when we widen out here to the blimp cam, Parker Retzlaff in drag racing style wins stage number 1. He'll be followed by Ben Garrity, Sylvain Joly, Daniel Moynihan, Nick Hansen, Ethan Ball, Brandon Minto, Noah Hamilton, Claude Ferland, and John Bawalda getting that final stage point here at the conclusion of stage number 1. Parker Retzlaff continues his dominance here of the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series League. And I mean, you know, I haven't seen anybody over the last several years be this darn good. You know, he is consistently at the front of every race, whether it's a stage or whether it's, you know, victory lane. I mean, over the last 4 weeks, we've done nothing but talk about him. And I was kind of laughing because he's the only, you know, driver here in this league that, you know, has real life experience. And, you know, you try not to fanboy, you try not to, you know, get in the way of the celebrity, so to speak. But Parker makes it really hard to ignore him when he's out here logging laps and, you know, picking him up and laying him down in the fashion that he is. I mean, after the recovery drive, literally waited like a lion in the Serengeti to pounce on that gazelle of Ben Garrity. And Ben Garrity out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania has to be more frustrated than the Keebler Elf getting demoted to Fudge Packer, as he thought that he had stage 1 wrapped up, and Parker Retzlaff just snatched the victory from the jaws of defeat here at the end of stage 1. Parker Retzlaff coming single file here behind the iRacing.com pace car as he has become the Pied Piper of Pocono for the time being tonight, as he's going to lead Ben Garrity, Sylvain Joly, Daniel Moynihan, and the rest of the field down pit road. And here they come, as this pit road is very unique to get into. I mean, this racetrack is very unique, but Parker Retzlaff, as we ride along with him, getting himself set up as we see the pace car taking off. Only a couple of drivers deciding to stay out. Here's Gabriel Lafreniere Richard Pruitt, Trent Curtis, and Logan Giesbrecht all staying out, as literally everybody else is going to come down for service as Parker slides into his pit box. He's going to get 4 tires and a tank of Go Fast as the right side pops up. Let's see if we can get a hold of Parker right now and chat with him for just a brief moment. It's not like we don't talk to him enough, but here he is, Parker Retzlaff, winner of stage number 1. Hey, Parker, it's Dave. You got me?
I got you.
Man, I told you off air before the race that you make it really hard not to talk about you, and here you are bringing another green and white checkered flag home at the end of stage 1. What do you have under the hood of this number 5 Funkaway Chevrolet?
Oh, I mean, it's just a great car overall. Like, I wanted to put a little fuel in and see how it was in a little bit dirty air there, and I just kind of got really lucky with cars and restarts right there to get me back up front. So I feel very good about my car. I'm going to try and keep it smooth and keep it clean, and hopefully win us another one.
All right, man. Parker Retzlaff going for 5 in a row as he brings home another stage win here in the SNN Xfinity Series. Good luck, man.
Thank you.
You know, it's one of those things where, you know, I tell the story that, you know, there I was at a urinal at Miami, at Homestead, Miami, and, you know, Josh Berry walks up to the urinal next to me, and, you know, you try not to bother a celebrity when all they're trying to do is take a leak, you know. And, you know, you sit there and it's, do you give him a nod? Do you say hello to him, or do you wait for him to shake his hands and then catch him outside? You know, a lot of these folks, you try not to bother, but, you know, Parker makes it incredibly difficult to do that here in this league as Uncle Scott checking in, having a cold Miller Lite. There he is. He is our YouTube star, is Uncle Scott. Zachary Gallo cheering on Ben Garrity as Young Camel giving the old shout out there to the 53 of Daniel Moynihan. And looks like Ben here getting another Zachary Gallo, getting the all right from him. I mean, look, it's a tough thing when you sit there and think about it. I mean, you know, there you are leading the race, coming back to the green and white checkered flag. You think you have everything locked up, and Ben Garrity unfortunately just kind of lost it there. And it wasn't by any fault of his own. He didn't make a mistake. It was just Parker Retzlaff is just that darn good. As I just had to avoid saying one of the 7 words you can't say on broadcast television. Still want to encourage everybody who's visiting Pocono Raceway. Of course, if you did so over the weekend, you can still check us out at 105.5 FM WMGH. You can download our app, and you can tune in every morning, Monday through Saturday, and hear yours truly on the news. As I've been blessed with that opportunity, and I'll tell you what a great team over there at WMGH, WLSH, and WGPA down just outside of Allentown, Pennsylvania. As Trent Curtis runs in 4th position right now, Gabriel Lafreniere going to control this field, coming back to the start-finish line in the 06 Oxmoor Chevrolet. Uncle Scott may have the Miller Lite, but Gabriel Lafreniere has that Oxmoor beer from north of the border. As the man in the stand has the green flag in his hand, looks like we're going to add a lap here. That's going to allow everybody to get caught back up to the field. As it looks like maybe Rich Jett, one of the last drivers to try to get caught back up. "35 drivers still on the lead lap here at Pocono. Just 2 drivers down any laps, and that's Anthony Savignano and Kavaja Holt, who got tangled up earlier on in this race and just annihilated one another for our first caution. Now Gabrielle going to lead us with Richard Pruitt on the high side. And Pruitt here out of Sanford, North Carolina, going to have to do his best. I mean, he's got, you know, a few extra laps here on his tires. Let's just take a look here at the pit strategy. I mean, as things run right now, Pruitt's got 16 laps on his tires. Lafreniere with 24. Giesbrecht and Trent Curtis each have 9. And then everybody else, Retzlaff all the way down through Hansen in 10th, have those freshies on the machine. So it's going to be interesting to see which of these drivers comes out the victors. We're going to have a 15-lap shoot for the Stage 2 segment of our race. As Gabriel Lafreniere still side by side, he's trying to get himself kind of lined up here behind the iRacing.com pace car. As, of course, the restart rules in iRacing are very strict. I mean, you know, it's computer controlled, and everybody says in real life, oh, we don't want the computer to determine balls and strikes in baseball or in or out of bounds in football or whether or not a driver in NASCAR went before the green flag. But we do it in the virtual world all the time. We allow a computer to decide balls and strikes in MLB The Show. We allow a computer to decide, you know, in or out of bounds on Madden. And here we are in iRacing with a computer deciding whether or not you went too early. As Gabriel Lafreniere, going to control the field, hits the loud pedal, and off we go in stage number 2. Coming down the front stretch is Gabriel Lafreniere with Trent Curtis on the low side. They get ready to start the second lap here of stage 2 as we're underway here at Pocono Raceway. Dave Regal with you in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. We want to thank everybody for tuning in this evening and making us a part of your evening. Thank you for welcoming us into your homes, onto your phones, wherever you may be and however you may be listening. We want to thank you for hanging out with us tonight. I mean, you know, Pocono Raceway is a very unique place as we go under caution for the 4th time tonight, 3rd time for cause, as I'm looking for where it may be. And I see some drivers floating around here, but I don't see anybody hemorrhaging spots, and I don't see anybody off pace, so this may be a caution for debris, as we've seen that multiple times on iRacing, as sometimes it just seems like somebody gets a little sideways and iRacing decides that it's debris. So Gabriel Lafreniere going to get another shot at the restart here, as he's going to have Trent Curtis just behind him. And while we get ourselves reset here on Sim Racing Media, we're going to step aside and pay some bills. I'm Dave Regal, and this is Monday Night NASCAR.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker, the future is feeling.
Just to the outside line, he breaks so much later. Masker can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on.
Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force him off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn one.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Trish on the bottom. Richard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh
and to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Apromitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
Preen Garden Weed Preventer and Preen Garden Weed Preventer Plus Plant Food block weeds before they start and are safe for use around over 400 flowers, vegetables, trees, and shrubs. Best of all, they give you 3 months of freedom from weeding in just 4 easy steps. You can apply Preen anytime before or during the growing season. But since it's a weed preventer, not a weed killer, early spring is best. Here's how. Start by removing existing weeds and their roots in the area where you want to apply Preen. Sprinkle granules directly onto dry soil, mulch, or stone so that they're evenly spaced. Within 24 hours of applying, integrate the granules into the top layer of soil or mulch or stone-covered bed. Finally, water with a hose or sprinkler, or a well-timed soaking rain to activate the protective weed barrier. When activated, Preen creates an invisible weed-fighting barrier just below the soil surface that targets and prevents weed seeds from sprouting and forming roots. People and pets may enter the treated area once dusts have settled and the area is thoroughly dry from watering or first rain. That's it. Now you'll have a beautiful weed-free space and 3 months to do anything but weeding. Satisfaction guaranteed. Trusted for over 50 years, Preen is America's #1 weed preventer brand with weed preventers for every type of garden.
Welcome back to Pocono Raceway as we are here on lap number 30. It's going to be 10 laps to go in stage number 2 as we're coming out of a debris caution. Gabriel Lafreniere with control of the field once again. He's going to be joined on the front row by Trent Curtis as Mike McConville and Parker Retzlaff going to be occupying row number 2. Ben Garrity, Nick Hansen, Daniel Moynihan, Logan Giesbrecht, Richard Pruitt, and Brandon Minto make up your top 10 as we come back to the green flag. The iRacing.com pace car leading us out of turn 3, getting ready to make the hard left turn down pit road, and he does as we go on board here with our race leader, Gabriel Lafreniere. He hits the loud pedal, and off we go. Gabriel Lafreniere working his way through the gears as we work here, and all of a sudden Trent Curtis loose as a goose here with that rear end stepping around on him with those older tires, but he's still able to overtake Gabriel Lafreniere, who has not come down pit road. Gabriel obviously trying to squeeze every drop of fuel out of the 06 to save a set of tires for maybe later on in this race, as he is shoved down the field by Ben Garrity here on the inside of Mikey Mac McConville out of Cape May, New Jersey. Parker Retzlaff kind of mired back here, but oh no, pandemonium in the ring, exploding. Oh no. As we go under caution almost immediately, there's the 43 of Claude Ferlin. Let's take a look and see what happened, because good Lord, that was not very, very good for him here. Let's see where this originates at. We can see them bunching up on the high side. And Claude, this happens ahead of them, perhaps from the 08 of Sylvain Joly. A little bit of a connection issue there, as things have stabilized over the last couple of weeks. And of course, as much as I love the Xfinity series, I have joined the Verizon team here. And there's the 34 giving a hit to the 08. That's Diego Rodriguez, and everybody scrambles. Let's see if we can take a look at this from the gearbox of the 08. Here it comes. Boink, doink, and gone. As we switch back and forth and we see everybody kind of running for cover, Sylvain Joly cannot be a happy camper after that incident here, as Trent Curtis going to cycle to the lead just ahead of Gabriel Lafreniere. Now, you know, it's almost like the racing gods are trying to give these two drivers a little bit of a hint, like, hey, listen, I'm giving you plenty of opportunity to come down pit road, but, you know, there's just only a short amount of time here before the end of stage 2. Trent Curtis with the Celsius Chevrolet Camaro leads this race right now just ahead of Gabriel Lafreniere, our neighbor from the north. And, you know, quite frankly, we talk about it all the time, but sometimes I don't think we talk about it enough. These guys from Canada are just this side of incredible to watch. And I feel like, you know, we don't talk about we don't talk about this enough. And I don't know. I'm looking for Oxmoor beer. And apparently it's not. I was under the impression that this was beer. Here we go. From pintplease.com. And of course, this is somewhat in French. They have Oxmoor Piments de Cayenne, which makes me think of pepper. Oxmoor Pale Ale, that's up my alley here. Apparently it's $3.99 at wherever they're selling this here on pintplease.com. Oxmoor IPA Noir, Oxmoor Scotch Ale, Lee Heavy, Oxmoor Micro Brassou. I'm gonna need the Google Translate for that one. Oxmoor IPA Americaine. I literally am getting out the translator. Apparently that is an American IPA. And then they also have an Irish Red Oxmoor. They have a white Oxmoor. I don't know what that is. And there's two white Oxmoors. I don't know what this is, but apparently it's Sylvain Joly's favorite beer, and we don't talk about it enough. I mean, quite frankly, if you're into trying something different, I guess that would be the one. The only Canadian beer I was ever conscious of back in the day was, Labatt's or Molson or something more traditionally Canadian, something that they serve in hockey arenas. I'm not sure if they serve those at hockey arenas, but Trent Curtis going to have control of this field as we come down the short stretch back toward turn number 3. It'll be green flag on lap number 35. Barney's up in the stand waiting for everybody to come on by. It's going to be Trent and Gabrielle in the front row, Mike McConville and Ben Garrity in row 2. Daniel Moynihan going to be alongside Parker Retzlaff, and Parker's going to be on the high side I'm sorry, on the low side here in the Funkaway Chevrolet. And as we get ready to rock and roll, I want to thank everybody for tuning in as Trent Curtis leads us back to the green flag. And here we go, the green flag in the air. He waves it, and here we go. Let's see if we can get to the end of stage 2 in one piece. "35 laps in the books. We're waiting to get ourselves to lap number 40 at the end of stage number 2 here at Pocono Raceway, just outside of Broadheadsville, Pennsylvania. Kind of between Tannersville, Broadheadsville, and, of course, Lake Harmony. No, I did not name my daughter after a lake. Parker Retzlaff looks to the inside now of Ben Garrity as they go side by side. And Parker's going to have to work his way around Gabrielle. And it looks like he's going to strap on the old hairnet and serve lunch to Gabrielle. Quite frankly, Canadian style. As they haul it down here into turn 3 and back toward the front stretch. They go 3 wide in turn 3. That's a dangerous move as Parker going to slide just across the nose of the 06 and up in front of the 65. He gets himself tucked in. Whoa! Let's ride along here with Ben Garrity as he has got all kinds of Parker Retzlaff in front of him. What a dangerous move that was, as I think he just tried to move Parker out of the way, and Parker's like, you know what, let me save this Chevrolet for a little bit more here. And I don't think we're going to see Parker have to use the chrome horn, but he is now going to work the inside as Pittsburgh's Ben Garrity runs the Hooters number 65 in 4th position now. Parker Retzlaff into 3rd. Mikey Mac McConville runs safely with 0.4 of a second ahead of Parker, as basically this is the JAR TCR show. Top 4, all of them. Curtis, McConville, Retzlaff, and Garrity. I mean, it doesn't get any easier than that to call a race. We've talked about it, you know, and there's just no reason to sit here and get upset. I mean, Ben Garrity, the only non-JAR TCR driver, and, you know, the top 3, on the other hand, are all out of that stable. I mean, these guys from the JAR TCR team are just unbeatable. I mean, right now, Trent Curtis looks here on lap number 37 into the rearview mirror, and he can see a pair of teammates behind him. And, hey, if you're going to be the guy that signs the paycheck, you better have your teammates behind you. And, you know, Trent Curtis, as he was talking earlier, was down at Selinsgrove, PA, as they had kind of an all-Pennsylvania racing weekend, both in the karts and in stock cars here at Pocono. Karts, of course, down there at Selinsgrove, which, what a cool place that is. I know that it's a very traditional track in that dirt kind of world. And I wish I knew more about the dirt world. Of course, I'm looking to learn more come August 10th at Mahoning Valley Speedway, a short drive away here from Pocono. And Mike McConville all over the back bumper of the 65, but now he's got to suddenly hold off Daniel Moynihan. And listen, Dan's hanging on for dear life here, just trying to get alongside. He looks to side draft McConville, and here he is. We can see McConville now falling and succumbing to that side draft as we rotate the camera here on the top of the 53. And, you know, McConville has become one of those patient Zen kind of drivers. He's like, you know what, go ahead and burn your equipment off. I'll be more than happy to ride here behind you and take that position once you cook your tires. But right now, it goes Trent Curtis, Parker Retzlaff, who now laid down a 55.31 in the last lap. Comes across now at 55.55, just a bunch of nickels across the screen. And everybody single file here in the closing laps of stage number 2. Of course, we're taking a look a little bit further back here in the field. John Wilco out of McAdoo, Pennsylvania, now starting to make some hay as he runs in 20th alongside of Dan Morgan in that 72 machine. As John Wilco out of McAdoo, PA, like I said earlier, about 40 minutes away here from the racetrack. I mean, this is a home track for him, and I know that it would mean a lot to be able to bring home the checkered flag. And it's only a short drive. As, you know, I'm sure the folks in Tresco and Calares would be more than happy to celebrate with him as they would parade down Kennedy Drive in McAdoo, which, of course, is the main drag in that town. It's only 2 blocks long, but it's a heck of a drive. .40 laps in the books. Final lap here of stage number 2. And Parker Retzlaff just made lunch meat once again of everybody here in the top 3 as he just drove from 4th all the way up here to the lead, passing Trent Curtis. Trent Curtis now trailing Parker Retzlaff by half a second. And at the line, Parker Retzlaff brings home another green and white checkered flag and continues his dominance in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series, as it's going to be Parker Retzlaff, Trent Curtis, Ben Garrity, Daniel Moynihan, Nick Hansen, Mike McConville, Noah Hamilton, Gabriel Lafreniere, Logan Giesbrecht, and Sam Bolin, your top 10, all being awarded stage points. And believe you me, Parker Retzlaff is racking up the stage points. I mean, so far this season, I have seen this young man go ahead and pick up stage points literally every race he's run. Parker Retzlaff in this league, since he started running, he's only got six starts on the season, right? And listen, that seems like a little bit considering that, here we are, deep into the season. But he has an average start of the pole position at 1.7 and an average finish of 5.8. I mean, his worst finish was on a speedway, and, that was after a bad night. I mean, basically on on short tracks, he's got 2 top 5s and 2 wins. So he's got 2 wins on short tracks, a pair on speedways, 1 on a road course, 5 wins overall. That's a win percentage of 83% of his 6 starts. I mean, holy Christmas, what a stat sheet. The more impressive stat to me is the fact that out of all of his incidents per corner, a total of 4,688 turns, he has 0.00 incidents per corner. That is not only good to see somebody who, let's be honest, he's out here turning laps week after week after week, and he's doing it safely. I mean, listen, I'm going to go into Joe Biden mode here, folks. The idea that he can do this safely is impressive to me. Parker Retzlaff leads us down onto pit road just ahead of Trent Curtis and Ben Garrity. 1, 2, 3 they go. And we'll ride along once again here with our stage winner, Parker Retzlaff, as he comes on down. Obviously, we're going to see him take 4 tires and a tank of Go Fast in the number 5. Hey, Parker, it's Dave. You got me?
I got you.
2 stages, 2 green and white checkered flags, 1 to go with just about, it's going to be a little bit less than 50 to go here in this race. What's going to be the strategy here in stage 3? I mean, as you roll off a pit road, you're basically just out here running your own race, in a different zip code.
Yeah, I slipped through my box for the second time this race, so I can't figure out how to pit at this racetrack, but keep putting myself in a little bit of traffic here. but I have a really good car, and I think that we have enough speed to get back to the front in this Funkaway Chevy, and we'll hopefully battle for the win here.
Yeah, I don't know if you planned that when you signed on with Funkaway, but Funkaway Chevrolet really has a nice ring to it.
Oh yeah, ring's great.
Well, man, listen, I mean, you've been dominant, once again here tonight at Pocono. I mean, I'm looking forward to see what you do, as it looks like you've got a couple of cars in front of you, but a couple of them are your teammates, of course, McConville and Curtis. I mean, you've got some good helpers around you. As long as you can avoid the mayhem, I think you're going to be just fine.
Oh yeah, that's always the goal, is just to avoid the mayhem.
All right, man, listen, good luck, and something tells me we'll be having one more conversation tonight before we get out of here.
That's the goal.
Parker Retzlaff, driver of the number 5 Funkaway Chevrolet, with a nice little ring to it there. I don't know if they planned that, but it definitely works. As Ron Fitting going to lead this race. He last came down on lap number 32, so his tires are about 10 laps older than everybody else. Daniel Moynihan and Ben Garrity come off of pit road 1 and 2. Aaron Mack, Trent Curtis, Mike McConville, Nick Hansen, Noah Hamilton, Parker Retzlaff, and Gabriel Lafreniere going to round out your top 10, as Ron Fitting going to have control of this field. Ron Fitting with control of the field just on the inside of Daniel Moynihan, who takes the outside lane. Daniel Moynihan running that Dunkin' Midnight Blend through his veins to keep himself all kinds of aware here on Pocono Raceway. Ben Garrity just behind in the Hooters number 65 Chevrolet. Ben Garrity out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I guess he's probably closer to the Mid-Ohio sports car course than he would be to Pocono. But he's a Pennsylvania guy. We'll take him. We'll accept it. As Ben Garrity going to have control of the field alongside of Moynihan. Ron Fitting gets out of the way and drops down pit road. I don't know what that move was, but that may cause some hurt feelings here. I hope that doesn't cause any unintentional black flags to be issued by iRacing, as we're here on lap number 45, and this time by at the flag stand will be 45 to go. Ben Garrity being challenged for the lead by Trent Curtis, as they both have the same tires. They each came in, and maybe Ron Fitting just came down as he rolls off of pit road now. Ron Fitting may even have a penalty that he was serving. Not sure what went on there. We'll have to check in with him shortly. But Ben Garrity right now, the story of the race, trying to lead things around here. Parker Retzlaff running back in 6th position after winning stages 1 and 2. Now trails Daniel Moynihan. And right now, as Moynihan leads here coming into turn number 1, we can see all he can really observe out of that rearview mirror is Parker Retzlaff. And Parker is on a tear, and we're going to ride along right on board with him as he now gets ready to move to the inside. Here comes the pass for 5th. Parker Retzlaff with just a tank of a car. I mean, he is just able to surprise everybody out here. And I mean, even as we look back here to these teammates, John Bawalda and Tony Burt, I mean, Bawalda working around Rich Jett in the 77, and Tony Burt just kind of observing from behind. Tony started in 22nd, and he currently runs in 16th. And, you know, you can never, ever count Tony Burt out, especially on these bigger racetracks. And, of course, my money is always on him for Daytona or Talladega. He is a super speedway whisperer. But Parker Retzlaff just went fast time here with a 55 flat. Parker Retzlaff working around his teammate Mikey Mack McConville out of Cape May, New Jersey. Mikey Mack can do nothing but just look from behind. As now getting around lap cars. I'm not sure who that is. Could be the 63, and it is. A Brockton Packard just kind of logging laps. He runs right now in 30th position. Down 10. And there's a pretty big gap between himself and Keith Black, who's only down 4 laps. But, you know, still 24 cars on the lead lap is impressive, no matter what league you're running, and especially when you have such talented drivers, especially in this league, where the talent literally runs from top to bottom. There's nobody that's a bum in this league, for lack of a better term. Under caution we go for the 7th time tonight, 5th time for cause, as it looks like Noah Hamilton may have been involved in this one. Let's take a look here, as Hamilton is timed right now in P20. We see him in the 45 dancing just ahead of Richard Pruitt in the 24. Pruitt gives him the chrome horn, and he goes sliding up the racetrack. Pretty harmless as he just literally stands on the brakes. And let's talk about this Cane's Fried Chicken real quick as we watch him get himself back underway here. I heard such incredible things about Cane's Fried Chicken, and I was told that it was something really special here. And let me tell you, save your money. Stood in line for an exorbitant amount of time. Don't get me wrong, it was tasty, but it was not worth the wait in line. McDonald's was right next door at Washington's Union Station while waiting for an Amtrak train. And I thought, okay, you know, here we go. Let's do this Cane's Fried Chicken. And, it was what it was. We're going to step aside and pay some bills one more time here on Sim Racing Media. I'm Dave Regal, and this is Monday Night NASCAR.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Basket can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on.
Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force it off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Frisch on the bottom. Bouchard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh,
and to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Abramitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going
Welcome back to Pocono Raceway, where Ben Garrity leads us here on lap number 51. 40 to go right now at Pocono, here at the Tricky Triangle. And folks, this place is incredible. I mean, you know, the racing has been good. Even the wrecks haven't really been that bad. I mean, 7 cautions, you got to remember, 5 of them were for cause. 2 of them, of course, for stage breaks. But Parker Retzlaff has just been downright dominant. Parker Retzlaff right now runs in 15th position. He came in at lap number 49 for a quick little pit stop. And you have to wonder if he's thinking about staying out for the next 40 laps as we get underway here. A couple of cars trying to get caught back up. That looks like the 08 of Sylvain Joly. And, of course, the Cane's Fried Chicken Machine. Oh, my. They've got a lot of catching up to do. But Ben Garrity here holding off Mike McConville, who's side by side right now with the 99 of Nick Hansen. As we come on down the back chute, these drivers neck and neck as they go all but fender to fender. They can wiggle one another's fingers at each other through the window net. And with a run, wow, the 65 just somehow made himself too wide and was able to hold off Nick Hansen and Mike McConville as we go back under caution. Almost instantly, as Dan Morgan seems to have bought the big one here for the 72. Let's take a look. And here is Dan Morgan. Watch that light blue 72 as he just gets it loose and keeps coming around. It looks like something may have happened in front of him. Maybe with Tony Bird, as it looked like Tony was getting a little loose there in the 4 car. And here goes Tony. He made contact with his teammate in the 51. That's John Bawalda. It sends the 30 up the hill, and, of course, checking up them was the 72. Driving on through all of that, quietly as usual, of course, is Chris Claude. And Chris is one of those drivers who we see time and time again basically, quote-unquote, getting lucky. And right now up 11 spots after qualifying in 27th is Chris Claude. And, of course, Chris Claude, chief cook and bottle washer here in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series. Let's see if we can get a quick moment with him as we pull him on down to the broadcast booth. Hey, Chris, it's Dave. You got me?
Hi, Dave.
Well, last night you had some connection problems and some software issues with iRacing. Obviously, everything back up and running tonight. I just said that it seems like you're always getting lucky and being able to squirt through some of these problems, and here you are up 10 positions after qualifying 27th.
Yeah, you got to do something to make up for the lack of speed, so I'll take it any way that I can get it. It's just nice to be able to run one of these things full length instead of having an abbreviated race like last night.
Yeah, I mean, you've got the 10 in a good position tonight, but I mean, Parker has just been this side of unstoppable in this league. I mean, even sitting in traffic right now, it's incredible to watch him march through the field. How does it feel to be out on the racetrack knowing that, your competition literally does this for a living?
It's pretty incredible. Not just him, but some of the other guys that have come through here. Whether they're professionals or not, they are very accomplished iRacers, and certainly give me something to shoot for. And while I may never be in the same league as they are, and be able to actually compete for wins, it's kind of fun on a week-by-week basis to compete for points and try to make the playoffs and see what I can do if it gets to that point.
Yeah, I mean, you've got a pretty good record getting yourself into the playoffs. It's just a matter of getting through the cut lines and getting to that Final Four. That's been elusive for you here on the 10 team. But, I mean, listen, you've been a great partner here to Sim Racing Media, and, week after week, I see you just kind of quietly making your way through the field, getting yourself now up here in a 14th position as a couple of drivers came down pit road. What's going to be the strategy the rest of the night here for the 10 machine?
Well, I did save a set of tires after the second stage. I did not take any, and I took some on the last pit stop. So I'm hoping to get maybe a little off cycle from some of these guys that are in front of me. I don't know when they took tire sets, but I'm hoping that I've got a little bit fresher tire set, and may even have a set at the end, which could really help me out if we get a late caution.
All right, my friend. Well, listen, good luck the rest of the way. Hopefully you can use that extra set of tires with a late caution here. We've got just under 40 laps to go at Pocono, so good luck, and we'll see what happens.
All right, thanks, Dave.
That the voice of Chris Claude, chief cook and bottle washer here in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series. Of course, we want to make sure that everybody knows that Chris puts a lot of time into this league, as Zachary Gallo still cheering on Ben Garrity. We'll see if we can get a chance to talk with him real quick here, as I've got to go way up here to the Apex Motorsport Alliance. Hey, Ben, it's Dave up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, man, listen, I mean, you're trying to do Pittsburgh proud. You've only got about another 2/3 of a lap here before we go back green flag racing. What's going to be the strategy to stay ahead of Trent Curtis and everybody else from the JAR TCR stable?
I don't know if there's much defense against them. They're pretty fast, so I don't know. I'll try to find my way around him maybe on the restart, but I feel like it's going to be a lot of defending if I do get in front of Curtis here.
All right, young man. Well, listen, good luck. And, listen, I watched you try to make that 65 too wide a little while ago. So if you can keep making it 2 and 3 cars wide, I think you've got a pretty good shot here at the end.
Yes, sir.
All righty, that the voice of Ben Garrity out of the Apex Motorsport Alliance team. I mean, this young man out of Pittsburgh does a great job every week trying to work his way through some of these literally grown men. And, quite frankly, this kid has what it takes, that's for sure. I hope that, maybe one of these race teams in the real world might pick him up for their E-Series. And maybe he's going to have a career here in real-life stock car racing. As, basically it seems like there's a lot of drivers, Parker and Alex Bowman and some of these other professional drivers that are in the Xfinity and the Cup Series came from the iRacing world. And, maybe not exclusively from the iRacing world, but that's still kind of like a touchstone or a home base for them. As Trent Curtis hits the Geico restart zone and drops the hammer and lays down a bullet, getting away from the rest of the field. Ben Garrity in tow, trying to find his way around him as we come into turn number 1. Here we go, and Ben Garrity falls in single file just behind Trent Curtis now as they work lap number 56 of 90, so about 35 to go here. And they are duking it out behind him. Here's Parker getting alongside of Sam Bolin and just making him stare at the rear bumper of the Funkaway Chevrolet. And now Parker puts into sight a 2-for-1 deal. Obviously, he's been there at Dollar General making it happen as he sees what's on sale, and now he's able to get around the 06 Oxmoor Chevrolet of Gabriel Lafreniere, and now he puts Nick Hansen in the crosshairs, and my God, here he is with another rocket ship performance late in this race as a couple of drivers try to break up the draft in Curtis, Garrity, and Hansen. It has a little bit of success, but Parker is still coming for them. "57 laps in the books for these drivers, and the race is far from over as we look back here toward the 45 of Noah Hamilton and the Cane's Fried Chicken Chevrolet as they are duking it out here. I mean, what a knot of cars all around Chris Claude in the 10. Chris isn't trying to make any mistakes as he qualified in 27th. He runs in 16th right now. But look at Aaron Mack go, holding off Tony Burt and Chris Claude as Aaron Mack is desperately trying to get it to go here on lap number 58. A little gastric distress from the dinner I had earlier tonight. Mushroom po' boys from HelloFresh. Kind of an interesting take there. I, quite frankly, did not read the recipe before selecting it, and it's literally mushrooms instead of meat in a po' boy. Don't get me wrong, it was delicious, but no fish, chicken, nothing. Taking a look here at John Bawalda working his way toward the double natural of Rich Jett in the 77. He's just behind Gabriel Lafreniere as Rich Jett sits on the bubble of the top 10. He holds off Bawalda by about a half second, but Mike McConville is now up here doing battle with Daniel Moynihan in the 53. Mike McConville now 0.4 of a second behind Moynihan, while Sam Bolin is 0.2 of a second behind McConville. Parker Retzlaff has now crawled his way up into third position as he has really done more than crawl. He has absolutely run as he looks to the rear bumper of the 65 of Ben Garrity out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We just heard from him, and Ben Garrity has got to be able to hold off Parker Retzlaff if he's going to break this winning streak. Parker giving him a push now down the short stretch coming toward turn number 3. Parker says, I want to score more points as he's already got the green and white checkered flag with stage points in it for tonight's race, and team owner Trent Curtis here from JAR TCR is literally running down the front stretch for his life as Ben Garrity is just kind of lurking. But Parker Retzlaff not lurking, he is hunting. Parker Retzlaff trailing Ben Garrity now by just less than 0.2 of a second, and all of a sudden this is one heck of a battle for the lead. They're turning it into a 3-car shuffle here as all of a sudden, again with the use of that front bumper from the 5 as he gives Ben Garrity a shove down the short stretch and into turn 3. It's almost like, Retzlaff is trying to telegraph to him like, hey, listen, buddy, if you can get yourself all set up, we'll get through this. He's going to make him really work for it to hold on to P2 right now, but Parker Retzlaff doing his very best here to make light of a tough situation. And, I mean, in baseball, we talk about situations all the time, situational baseball, blah, blah, blah. And, right now in this situation, Parker, he's got to make a decision. Does he want to make a run for the lead, or does he want to hang out and make that run later on here as we're now 30 laps to go and a 3-car train down the Long Pond straightaway across the tunnel turn. And as they come through the tunnel turn, it looks like it's going to be Trent Curtis holding on to the lead, but he has a rear view mirror full of Ben Garrity and Parker Retzlaff. Watching these drivers work is just this side of artwork. I mean, many of them, if we start to watch and see what's going on tonight, wow, Trent Curtis now racing all the way across the track. Suddenly, he's able to get his teammate Parker Retzlaff right behind him. And Parker Retzlaff now has to be able to hold off Ben Garrity as he's going to hitch his wagon here to the 13. Nothing up his sleeve, nothing in his hat, and here comes Parker Retzlaff. Trying to do a little bit of microphone adjusting as it sounds like I'm really getting a little screechy here. As Parker Retzlaff pushes the 65 of Ben Garrity all the way down the back straightaway. My God, what a run he's got tonight. As Parker Retzlaff is just driving this thing like it's a rocket ship around Pocono Raceway. And folks, Dave Regal with you here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. I want to thank all of you for making us a part of your evening. As now we look here into turn number 1, and once again, Parker Retzlaff is really trying to throw haymakers here at Ben Garrity. And Ben Garrity going to be held up by Trent Curtis. And it's almost like Trent Curtis is dragging it just a little bit here in front of Garrity. Garrity giving another bump here to the 13 as they shoot themselves right down into the tunnel turn. Three wide, and here comes Mike McConville as now it's the JAR TCR stable up here. 3 wide. Parker Retzlaff, the meat in the middle of a Trent Curtis and Mike McConville sandwich. Obviously, Mikey Mack was throwing that one together down there at the Produce Place Deli in North Cape May. And right now, the Produce Place Deli #1 Chevrolet is really cranking up the crazy here as he looks to the inside now of Parker Retzlaff. And Parker now watching the 13 shove the 1 down the back straightaway. And on the Long Pond stretch, all Ben Garrity. Oh, no. Ben Garrity almost shoved it where it didn't belong. They make contact. There goes Garrity into the safer barrier. Garrity keeps it moving. We stay green flag racing. But trouble here for Ben Garrity late in this race. That's going to turn things over to Parker Retzlaff, who now has to hold off his teammate, Mike McConville. As McConville, they may be teammates, but here on the racetrack, it's every man for himself as he now hitches his wagon to the rear bumper of the 5 and has Nick Hansen here running in 3rd position, bopping his way up through the standings after qualifying in 7th position. Trent Curtis, though, qualified in 18th and has absolutely put the work in tonight and has earned that top 5 spot that he's in right now with a rearview mirror full of Sam Boland. Mike McConville holding off Parker Retzlaff, who's out here for win number 5 in a row, and Parker Retzlaff is not going to be put to bed early tonight as we go under caution for the 9th time, 7th for cause, here on lap number 65. Ethan Ball may be having a bad night here, as I can't see where Ethan might have been. Let's see if we can look here from the blimp where Ethan might be. And there's Ethan Ball. He may have finally had that motor pop. Let's take a run back here and see what happened. It almost looks like he was driving a modified car, so as it was, and he was holding it together. Let's go along here and ride with Ethan Ball. The car just not coming back to him. Let's just look here and maybe back this up a little bit further for Ethan Ball. As he came through turn number 1, let's see what it sounded like. The car didn't pop, it just gave up. Here's Ethan Ball going down the backstretch out of Princeton, West Virginia. And he's got this thing all kinds of wound up, and he gets off the throttle and just can't do it anymore. Ethan gets down on the apron. He's doing his very best to stay away from the racing surface. But it looks like the 96 finally gave up the ghost. Now here's this late stage caution. on lap number 67. And, you know, Chris talked about it as Chris is running back in 17th position. Nick Hansen and Richard Pruitt each decide to stay out behind the iRacing.com pace car while the JAR TCR drivers all come down pit road. And here's Tony Burt. Let's see if we can get a chat with him quick, as Tony Burt has decided to stay out as well. Let's get a hold of Tony. Hey, Tony, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Hey, Dave. How are you, buddy?
Buddy, I'm good. I mean, I've missed you. I don't see you out here on the racetrack enough. You never call. You never write. But, you know, the 4-car tonight, you've really done a lot of work with it. I know that, you know, the setup is usually phenomenal here for you guys in the Jack Dow Motorsports stable. Take us through this, and why are you staying out here this late in the race?
Well, we worked on this setup for a long run, and I'm thinking that we're going to have one more caution at the end. I'd like to have a fresh set with like 10 to go. So that's all I'm thinking. I'm actually thinking I can stay on the lead lap enough to get to that next caution. So that's the plan.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of guys are hoping for that late stage caution. I mean, you know, we're still over 30 laps to go here in this piece. I mean, how has the Fork team been tonight? And, you know, what has brought you now to this point? I mean, you know, obviously that car is dialed in pretty well. You're having a good night.
Yeah, the car's done pretty good. I just got into John there a little bit. Parker's so much faster than everybody else. When he came down on the inside, made us 3 wide, and it got kind of loose in there, and I touched John. I'm not for sure what's going to happen with that, but I might get scored a DNF because of that. I just don't know. But, yeah, the number 4 car has been strong for sure. Unusual for me. This isn't a restrictor plate track, so it's unusual for me to have speed. So it's been fun for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you know, out there running around Parker, and I've talked about it before. I talked about it with Chris a little while ago. What's it like to be out there with a real-life race car driver who is just showing everybody his tailpipe?
He's so fast. He's just so fast, and he it seems like he just his tires don't ever wear out or anything. So it's impressive. It's impressive, and I think we all can learn a lot from him for sure, even as young as he is.
All right, my friend. Well, listen, know that Jesus loves you, so do I, and I am glad to see you out here on the racetrack tonight.
Thank you, brother. Good to talk to you.
That, of course, the voice of the great Tony Burt, driver of the number 4. And let me tell you, when it comes to being a good human, Tony Burt is above the fold, you know, all things considered. I mean, you know, here's a guy that, you know, gives his time and his life to Christ and the work thereof. And I'll tell you what, watching him out here on the racetrack every week, you know, he's always my dark horse, especially my dark horse candidate, especially at a big racetrack. We're going to see a lot from him at Talladega and Daytona. And I can't wait to race against him, as a matter of fact, at Daytona on August 25th in the Cup Series. And something tells me he and I are going to see one another on the racetrack quite a lot that night. Nick Hansen and Richard Pruitt going to lead us back to green. Mike McConville came down on lap number 66 for pit service. He's going to be on the outside of Tony Burt. As Tony Burt, we just heard from him, is hoping to save on that one last round of tires as the green flag flies. And Nick Hansen getting a shove right now from Mike McConville. Good Lord. That was quite a shove. Nick Hansen here. Of course, nothing but JR TCR drivers. You got to remember, those JR TCR guys, McConville, Trent Curtis, Parker Retzlaff, Brock Packard, Keith Black, Ethan Ball, and Nick Hansen all up here doing big things in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series. And these guys are not done yet. As we take a look at the YouTube.com live chat, the Michigan Rocker saying that it was a bummer for Minto, and it was, as he's currently buried back here in the standings out of the top 10. Zachary Gallo still cheering on Ben Garrity, and Garrity trying to hold himself together here on the racetrack. I know that he had a little oopsie-daisy a moment ago, but Garrity looking to try to drive back through this pile. as Mike McConville is now running away from the field with 9/10 of a second over teammates Nick Hansen and Trent Curtis. Parker Retzlaff buried back in 7th position right now. This is just about the toughest traffic that he's had to navigate all night long as he now looks to the inside of Logan Giesbrecht as they go side by side. But Parker not wasting any time trying to get himself up here to Daniel Moynihan, who now leads Parker by 3/10 of a second. And Moynihan trying to get the most out of those new tires as he can, getting around Richard Pruitt. And hopefully he thinks he's going to try to use Pruitt as a pick to keep Parker away. And it looks like Parker is just chasing him down the racetrack, now getting right behind his teammate and team owner, Trent Curtis, as he blows the doors out of Curtis. Curtis takes a hit from the 99, but stays moving forward as they scramble down the front stretch. Mike McConville now leading by 2.3 seconds over Parker Retzlaff. Let's watch Parker Retzlaff do what he does, as he is now we're going to watch him start to close the gap between himself and Mike McConville. Let's get the time delta up here, and we can start to see all of these times now. Now McConville just laid fast time down at 54.754. Retzlaff slower by about 3/10 of a second that lap. But I mean, good gracious, this is going to be a battle for the ages when Parker Retzlaff starts to close that gap. And right now, Mike McConville, the last thing he wants to see is, oh, good Lord. I didn't even say it, so I can't even be held accountable for jinxing this one. But here's Eugenio Alonso, maybe biting the big one tonight, as we can see him right here behind Rich Jett in the 77, just ahead of Tanner Marty. He slides down in front of Marty, and Marty gets him with the nose of the 29, and it turns around the 26. Now, what I was saying a moment ago, just before then, Mike McConville didn't want to see the caution come out, because now that 2.3 second gap with he and Parker Retzlaff has now evaporated to nothing. It meant nothing. Parker Retzlaff now going to be nose to tail with Mike McConville as we step aside one final time with 19 laps to go here on Sim Racing Media. I'm Dave Regal, and this
Way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force it off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Frisch on the bottom. Richard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh
and to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Abramitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Pocono Raceway. Dave Regal here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. Want to thank everybody for tuning in this evening as we're about to watch the finale of the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series race here at Pocono at the Tricky Triangle. Mike McConville did not want to see this caution flag come out as he had a 2.3 second lead over Parker Retzlaff, who was dominant in stages 1 and 2, and he has now crawled all the way back from deep in the field, at least deep for Parker, and now sits on the front row alongside of his teammate, Mike McConville. The green flag flies, and we're back underway with 16 laps to go here at the Tricky Triangle. And almost immediately we go under caution. There goes Tony Burt for a ride. Oh, no. I may have jinxed Tony. It seems like no matter what I do here, I'm jinxing someone. Tony Burt gets a good start here ahead of Nick Hansen. Nick Hansen goes to split him. He bounces off the 10. Oy. Nick Hansen tried to take it 3 wide, and it didn't go too well. Let's watch this from the perspective of the 99 because, my God. And here we go, riding along with Nick Hansen. Nick Hansen thinks he's got a better start than Tony Burt. He kind of does, but he drifts up the racetrack. He doesn't calculate for the 10 being in his way. Let's see what happened from Chris's perspective here. And you can see Nick Hansen bumping into him. Here it comes. Doink. And behind him is the mayhem. Oy. Well, unfortunately, that's going to take Tony Burt and turn him sideways. That puts him on a trip down pit road as Mike McConville and Parker Retzlaff each came down on lap number 66. In fact, everybody did, all the way back through Chris Claude, who came down on lap number 72. He was saving that set of tires, and I don't know if he's got enough now as we get lined up here behind the iRacing.com pace car once again. Can't see who that is right behind the pace car. That's the 31 of Aaron Mack. Aaron Mack trying to get another lap back. Of course, he's been buried back here for quite some time as he's in 27th position, about 15 laps behind the field. Nick Hansen and Timothy Cook come down pit road. Here comes Nick Hansen. Let's ride on board with him and see what he's going to have to do to the 99 after this mess. as the Cleveland native comes down pit road. Now he started in he started in 7th, so he's got a long drive here to slide into the pit box. And it looks like he's just going to put it in neutral and shut her down tonight. So Nick Hansen with some required repairs here in a weird twist of fate after trying to take it 3 wide on the front stretch. That puts Mike McConville here atop the pile. Let's see if we can get a hold of Mikey Mack. We haven't heard from him tonight, and we've heard from many of these drivers tonight, but here he is, Mikey Mack from Cape May, New Jersey. Hey, Mikey, what's going on, buddy?
What's up, Dave? How we doing, buddy?
Man, I swear to God, it wasn't my fault. I didn't mean to jinx you, but just as I was about to say, McConville's got a 2.3-second lead over Retzlaff, all of a sudden that disappeared, and you wind up now side by side.
That happens. Feels like him and I are pretty equal tonight, so we're going to have one hell of a brawl coming to the checkered. And he's not winning tonight.
Look, I mean, you can say that all you want, but Parker's got a 4-win streak coming into tonight's race. I mean, if you're going to be the one, of course, it just really what it does is it extends JRTCR's win streak here in the Xfinity Series. How are you guys this dominant?
Just a lot of work during the week getting the setup right. We knew it was going to be hot. We just made the cars a little more snug, so we're not sliding around. I feel like that's where we're best. Just in the corners, through the center. We kill everyone through the center of the corner.
I mean, you really do. I mean, I've been impressed with you guys all night long. I mean, you know, we had some time to hang out before this race, and I can't express enough how incredible it is to watch you guys do what you do out here.
It's pretty awesome knowing that the whole team every week is putting on a great show for everyone out there in internet land.
Absolutely. Now, you last came down on lap number 66. What's the fuel situation? Are you going to have enough to get here to the end?
Oh, yeah, we're good to go. We were good to go 2 cautions ago when Ethan blew up and iRacing decided to throw a caution for him rolling in turn 3. And I don't think anyone else was... I think Parker was within a lap of making it, but I was good to go. I was hammered down the whole way. I wish that 2 cautions ago didn't come out.
Trust me, when I saw that the caution right before this one, I was like, oh my God, we went from 2.3 seconds of a gap. Like, I really thought that you had Parker beat. And now you're going to have a drag race to the finish here. So good luck, buddy. Strap in and get ready to rock and roll. Bring one home to South Jersey.
Yes, sir. We're going to put on a great show for the rest of this race, man. He's going to have to tear this win away from my dead, meaty claws.
Dead, meaty claws. You heard it first here, folks, on Sim Racing Media. That's the voice of Mike McConville. Thanks, buddy, and listen, maybe we're going to see you here in Victory Lane tonight.
Yes, sir. That's the plan.
Always the plan for somebody who cheers for the Phillies and the Eagles is to try to get there into Victory Lane as Mike McConville leads us back to the green flag. We hit the restart zone, and off we go with 12 laps left on the board. Watching this field of cars all night, 20 cars on the lead lap. These guys have been throwing haymakers at one another all night long, and the racing has been great from start to finish. I mean, you know, from the top of this running order to the bottom, these guys are all putting on a great show tonight here on Sim Racing Media. All of a sudden, I've got a potato chip stuck in my throat. That's great. Oh, God, watch the 09 of Timothy Cook go spinning helplessly through turn 2, and Timothy Cook, who came down on 76 just a few moments ago, just got bit by the cold tire bug. Let's see what happened here, because he has got to be angrier than a pack of hornets. Here is Timothy Cook as we get ready to rock and roll. They come out of turn 3, and this is when, I'm sorry, almost brought you the wrong clip. And here he's got Nick Hansen to the inside, and you know, it looks like the 09, gets a run right at Matt Mackin in the 01, spun around by Brockton Packard, and away we go. Brockton Packard definitely coming away the loser out of this one, that's for sure, as we're going to ride along with him this time around. Brockton can see what's about to happen in front of him, but he's got no place to go and just catches that left rear quarter panel. He gets himself sideways and gets on the binders right away, slides down to the infield, and at least kind of, I think, squirts away with next to no damage here on the 63 as he runs in 25th position. All of a sudden, McConville has a crazy challenger here in Parker Retzlaff. And I mean, it's going to be less than 10 laps to go when we go back green flag racing. Should be somewhere in and around 9, maybe 8 laps. And, you know, you think that that's not a very long time, but my God, sitting in the cockpit with your elbows up, trying to get her done is just this side of a miracle if you can pull this one off. When we go back green flag racing, it's going to be Mike McConville, Parker Retzlaff, Daniel Moynihan, Gabriel Lafreniere, Trent Curtis, Chris Custer, Noah Hamilton, Rich Jett, Sam Bolin, and Logan Giesbrecht, your top 10. As we look here, the iRacing.com pace car lights are still on. Drivers are supposed to be single file, but nobody in iRacing has ever figured out what that's supposed to mean. So Mike McConville has a lot of decisions to make. Do you help your teammate out, or do you throw the car and make it 4 wide? And the other question is, does Parker Retzlaff try to add to the win total for the season, or does he help his teammate get to victory lane? Of course, Mike McConville has been a long-time driver in this league this season, and, you know, he has put the work in. I mean, you know, quite frankly, just like that guy from the 600-pound life, you got to do the work. I mean, Mikey Mack is one of those drivers that continually gets himself, you know, doing the work, doing the best that he can. And, you know, he's still searching for that second win of the season. He picked up the W on March 11th back at Phoenix Raceway and has not seen victory lane since. He's been a couple of times a bridesmaid on the podium, but, you know, he'd really like to notch that second win of the season. I mean, on the season, Mike McConville has, well, let's see, this is going to be his career stats in this. That's not what I wanted to see. Let's see if we can pull this up a different way, and maybe this will give me the stats that I'm looking for. Here it is. 17 starts on the season, so he's made sure that he's been in every race with an average finish of 12.5. This young man out of South Jersey has 5 top 5s, 10 top 10s, and just 1 win. I mean, he's got to be able to bring that average up just a little bit here tonight. And, you know, I feel like this is probably his best, you know, let's just say his best opportunity since Phoenix to bring home the checkered flag. I mean, you know, he won in Phoenix. He finished top 5 at Richmond. He finished second on the podium after Charlotte Motor Speedway. He finished third 2 weeks ago at Nashville Superspeedway. So he's looking to add to the trophy case tonight is Mike McConville in the number 1 Produce Place Deli, of course, down there in North Bend. iRacing.com pace car bringing us down the short stretch just past the Pocono Raceway offices. You can go there for tickets and everything else that you need to get yourself comfortable here at Pocono. And I know that from what I gather, the camping scene here is just this side of amazing. And it's a huge infield. I mean, it's really interesting when you go to a racetrack in person to try to look from one side to the other. You don't realize, because TV shrinks it down so small, that how big that field is. As Mike McConville going to come into the Geico restart zone. He's got Parker Retzlaff on the high side. Watch him go as he gets a bump from Daniel Moynihan. And all of a sudden, he's got Daniel Moynihan trying to help him out here from behind. McConville shoots to the high side to try to take some of the momentum away from Parker Retzlaff, and he thinks that he's got the car to beat tonight as he now hops out 0.2 of a second ahead of Parker. Parker looking from behind, drivers scampering here behind him as we look here at the 45 of Noah Hamilton, and I mean Hamilton right now trying to hold off Giesbrecht and Bolin at the same time. All of a sudden, Nick Hansen mbopped his way all the way here into 11th position after qualifying in 7th. And my God, what a run we have right now out of the 65. That's Ben Garrity as he's trying to fight his way back up toward the lead. Ben Garrity running in 13th position right now, just behind John Bawalda, who's having one of his best finishes of the season right now as he runs right behind Logan Giesbrecht. John Bawalda in this league has been around for a number of years. I know that you've all heard his name time and time again, and I'll tell you what, he is not going to be put to bed early as he runs right now in 17th in points. And I mean, out of 14 starts this season, he's got an average finish of 17th right now, running in 12th, so that'll help that for sure. Now, out of all of that, he's only got 2 top 5s and just 3 top 10s, and I mean, has not finished but once on the podium, and that was back at Talladega in April. And I mean, right now, John is doing his very best after finishing 4th at Chicago, to try to finish up here on the podium tonight. But he's got a lot of work and a lot of talent to drive through, as all of a sudden something has happened, and Mike McConville, oh my, I don't know what just happened. I was looking away for 2 seconds trying to read one thing, and suddenly Mike McConville just melted through here. As we're going to see what happened, as literally in the blink of an eye, Daniel Moynihan gets away from Mike McConville. Oh, McConville got sideways. Let's see if we can go back and see what happened to Mike McConville, because now he's going to have an even tougher way to get through this racetrack, as he and Parker were really neck and neck here. Let's go back to the live stream. You can see this, and you can see Parker just behind McConville. McConville trying to make that car as wide as possible. Parker goes to the inside, and he drifts right up into McConville. Oh my, and hooked him. That loosened up McConville, but it also took the wind out of the 5 sail, and that allowed a number of other drivers to get on past them. My God. Now Daniel Moynihan leads this race out of Boston, Massachusetts with 5 laps to go. He's going to need to reach down really deep into the Barney bag and see what he can find to hold off Parker Retzlaff as he's trying to beat him away from his door, like all of a sudden he's a raccoon on the back porch of the house. And Parker Retzlaff maintaining his race lead with Mike McConville running in P3 as he is recovered and running nicely. But Dan Moynihan coming down the front stretch, now getting just up to that left rear quarter panel of Parker Retzlaff. It's almost like they figured it out and they know the play. Fumaruski, says Ed O'Neill in the Little Giants. And Daniel Moynihan out of Boston, Massachusetts, muscles his way past Parker Retzlaff and slides in front to steal the lead away. Now Parker almost uses the front bumper here to take a little bit of air off that spoiler of the 53. And now Parker regains the lead, putting Mike McConville to battle Gabriel Lafreniere, as McConville may have cooked his tires while he was spinning around. But all of a sudden, Parker Retzlaff now gets ready to seal the deal on win number 5 in a row, 6 on the season with 4 laps left tonight. Something very bad is going to happen. Oh my God, there goes the 53 up the racetrack as Mike McConville just shoved his nose right there in the crack between Parker Retzlaff and Daniel Moynihan. Mike McConville with Rich Jett in tow, getting pushed along with Trent Curtis behind him. All of a sudden, team owner Trent Curtis is sitting there trying to push his drivers up here to victory, side by side through turn number 1 with 3 laps to go is Parker Retzlaff and Mike McConville. They nearly make contact coming out of turn 1 and down the Long Pond straightaway, but Parker Retzlaff still trying to muscle his way ahead of his teammate Mike McConville. But Daniel Moynihan pours another cup of Midnight Blend and shoves his way just behind Parker Retzlaff. He starts to fade back toward the clutches of Rich Jett in the 77, but Parker Retzlaff has his hands full as Mike McConville just sends it right here into turn 2. They make contact. Parker Retzlaff dirt tracking his way out of 3 and back toward the front straightaway. Oh my God! The popsicle sticks go in the air, and we're 2 laps to go. Mike McConville getting himself reset here with 2 laps to go. He sees Rich Jett running in 3rd. Nick Hansen has now gotten his way up into 4th position. And Parker Retzlaff looks to either push his teammate to victory or take air off the spoiler. Nobody can tell what it is. He took air off the spoiler. That's what it was. He's now worked his way up here, and oh my goodness gracious. Holy Moses on a pogo stick. 13th caution of the night, 11th for cause. And all of a sudden, Mike McConville has a drag race on his hands. Mike McConville, Parker Retzlaff, and Rich Jett. 1, 2, 3. Daniel Moynihan going to be in 4th position. Nobody's going to be coming down pit road. NASCAR overtime is about to be engaged, and what that means, folks, is that when the green flag flies, we will race around to the white flag. If a caution should come out between the green flag flying and the white flag flying, we will rack them, stack them, and do it all over again. If the white flag flies, we will race around back to checkers, and the next flag will win the race. Whether that flag is yellow, checkered, blue, it don't matter, because that would be the end of that race. This race tonight has come down to NASCAR overtime, and Mike McConville out of Cape May, New Jersey, is holding off his teammate Parker Retzlaff. Rich Jett out of Schwenksville, Pennsylvania, runs in P3, and Daniel Moynihan from Boston, Massachusetts, runs in 4th. Nick Hansen rounds out the top 5. Gabriel Lafreniere, Ben Garrity from Pittsburgh, Sam Bolin, Trent Curtis, and Noah Hamilton make up your top 10. And, folks, this ain't over yet. And according to Yogi Berra, it ain't over till it's over. We're going to see if we can dial up Rich Jett and see what he's got up his sleeve. Maybe a little something extra here. Let's see if we can find the driver, the 77. And I don't see him in race chat. Never mind, just kidding. Let's go ahead and grab Dan Moynihan. And there he is, Daniel Moynihan. Dan, listen, you're going to be restarting P4 here. You've got some talented drivers ahead of you. You've got Rich Jett to the inside. I'm assuming this is full send mode.
Yeah, this is what we call no holds barred. It'll be tough, but I mean, Parker and Mike have been going at it for the past couple of laps. They like turned each other a couple of times.
I mean, they have been out here like rock'em sock'em robots, and somebody just keeps resetting the heads on those damn things as we've worked our way here with 3 laps to go. course, NASCAR overtime becoming a factor. What are you trying to do? Because I'll tell you what, all 5 of you guys here in the top 5 were beating and banging on each other like it was New Hampshire.
Oh yeah, we were. Yeah, for those last couple of laps before the caution. But I mean, the plan is to gain as many positions as possible before we cross for the checkered. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I've already talked to Mikey Mack and Parker a couple of times tonight, and of course I got a chance to talk with them before the race. I chatted with you before the race too, but I mean, listen, you're one of my dark horse candidates to get this thing done. I mean, you know, somebody has to dethrone Parker as he is on a 4 race win streak. Can you do it? Yes or no?
You know what? We'll see about that.
Jesus Christ, what are you, running for Senate? I asked a yes or no question.
I mean, listen, I can't answer that right now. I gotta see how I'll perform.
My God. Well, listen, folks, if you're looking for a new Senate candidate in Massachusetts, here's your guy, Daniel Moynihan.
Hey, vote for Moynihan.
Yeah, vote for Moynihan. If I'm voting for Moynihan, I'm drinking heavily that day.
Oh,
maybe,
dude, same.
Just for fun, I'll write you for something in Pennsylvania. How would you like to be Attorney General?
Absolutely not. You do not want me in a position of power.
All right, buddy. Listen, good luck. Get yourself cranked in there, and maybe we're going to see what you got here for these guys at the end.
I hope so. I'm hoping I'll be talking to you here pretty soon.
Daniel Moynihan, politician in training, as I asked him a yes or no question, and he danced away with it like he was Fred Astaire. And folks, for those of you that are too young to know, Fred Astaire, you can check him out over on TCN, on whatever streaming platform you use for live television. But by the way, live television is that thing with commercials in the middle that talk to you about things that you didn't really know that you needed, but it turns out that you do. It's not targeted ads like we see on Hulu. Anyway, that's a whole nother thing. But right now, Mike McConville leads us down here into turn number 3. And quite frankly, I'm terrified to see what the outcome of this is going to be, because it's going to cause me to all but have a stroke here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. Dave Regal with you here as always, the voice of all things Sunday Night NASCAR. The iRacing.com pace car peels on down pit road. Mike McConville hits the Geico restart zone, and off we go. NASCAR overtime engaged. Mike McConville with a great restart here over Parker Retzlaff, and you almost have to wonder if Parker Retzlaff is kind of doing his impression of a cat. He just wants to play with you for a little while and make you think that you've got it. As, oh my God, what a block. We're going to watch this from the blimp cam. Mike McConville tries to throw the block in front of Parker Retzlaff, and 2 teammates going at it like a couple of kids in the back seat of the station wagon. Here we are coming down the stroke straightaway into turn number 3, and all of a sudden, Mike McConville just watched Parker Retzlaff snatch away P1 from him. Like all of a sudden, it was the last fruit roll-up in the box. All of a sudden, the popsicle sticks go down. The white flag is in the air, and we're racing back to checkers. Parker Retzlaff leads Mike McConville and Rich Jett here at the line. Rich Jett trying to hold off Daniel Moynihan, and Moynihan has one chance to capture P3. He's got to make the move soon. He's got to hold off Nick Hansen and has his hands full, while Parker is now running away by half a second from Mike McConville. And all of a sudden, they're wrecking behind him. It's pandemonium deep in the field, but Parker Retzlaff running away with the win here. More than a half second now over Mike McConville. They aren't done racing yet as they come through turn 2 and down the short stretch toward turn 3. One final time over the tunnel turn, and here they come into turn number 3. Parker Retzlaff leads us down here back to the front stretch. He hugs that yellow line one final time. Mike McConville does the same, but coming across the line first is Parker Retzlaff here in the number 5 Funkaway Chevrolet for win number 5 in a row. Parker Retzlaff, amidst doing all of that, lays the fastest lap of the race down, and he saved the best for last. 54.73 seconds. McConville runs 54.75 for his fastest time, and my God, What a race we just saw here at the end of this thing. Rich Jett comes in third. Daniel Moynihan finishes in fourth. Nick Hansen rounds out your top five. But Parker Retzlaff just put on a banger of a show. And believe you me, you're going to want to run this race back and watch it start to finish. Parker Retzlaff celebrating here on the front stretch with Mike McConville just kind of sitting angrily here at the start-finish line. Rich Jett, though, out of Schwenksville, Pennsylvania, puts on one heck of a fight here at the end, and here's Parker Retzlaff after finishing 32nd in the real-life race on Saturday, brings home the 5th checkered flag in a row here for his career, and 6th overall. My goodness. Parker's down there in the waiting room. Let's get a hold of everybody else and get them on down here. Here's McConville. We're going to, oh, there goes Nick Hansen. And now we're going to look for Rich Jett in the 77. Hopefully he drops in. But first and foremost, let's talk to our race leader, Parker Retzlaff. Hey, Parker, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
I got you.
Buddy, listen, I didn't know if you had enough to get around McConville tonight. He had you by 2.3 seconds 3 cautions ago. And all hell seemed to break loose, and you wind up sitting in victory lane.
Yeah, I mean, I made a mistake again on pit road and did auto fuel and wanted to make sure I had enough fuel for green white checkered. So I was willing to take the chance to put more fuel in it and have enough that I knew I had green white checkers. And I knew I felt like I had the pace to drive through the field and get back to whoever was going to be the leader whenever I got clear. So I, it ended up being a really hard race to win. I mean, we ended up having a really good battle there. I ended up with some damage. It slowed my straightaway speeds down, but my corner speed was still really good.
Yeah, I mean, the 5 car tonight was just on a freaking rail. I mean, I could not be more impressed with how you managed to drop all the way back into like 7th, 8th, and 9th position at one point, and really had to claw your way through this field. And I mean, there was all kinds of mayhem going on around you, and fortunately, when I say around you, I mean it was like 8 and 9 positions back, so the only thing it was really doing was bunching you up and really giving you a chance to reload and take another shot here at the win.
Yeah, I mean, the yellows definitely had some points were helping me, some points were hurting me, so I would love to see one of these races just go kind of green to checker with the 2 stages and see how it plays out, but overall it was a fun race, and I'm happy to get another one.
Absolutely. Well, listen, before we cut you loose tonight, as always, who do you need to tip your helmet to, and who helps you get it done on the 5 team?
Yeah, I mean, everyone who supports me, Funkaway, everyone who's watching, girlfriend I know is watching, and everyone who's watching at home, my parents, and everyone who helps me every week. Thank you, guys.
All right, man. Well, listen, congratulations. We'll see you next week, and listen, go ahead and enjoy that win.
Thank you.
Win number 5 for Parker Retzlaff in the Funkaway Chevrolet. Next here on the podium is my good buddy Mike McConville, who, Mikey Mac, listen, you had this thing sealed away and the cautions just bit you directly in the genitals.
I mean, that's definitely a way of putting it.
I mean, look, I'm sitting here, and of course, I get myself emotionally involved. I tried to tell you before this race that, I'm supposed to be neutral up here in the booth, but I can't do that when it's guys like you down on the racetrack.
Well, that means a lot, man. But, man, second place, it hurts. Especially coming to Parker again. But he and I were, through all the brawling we did, we were laughing back and forth at each other. Just, he knew how much I wanted to get him, and he knew he opened the door when he went in that tunnel turn and hit me in the left rear. I came across and went, all right, game on, sir. I ran him back down and gave him the nudge back. And we were equal tone there. And I think I might have damaged myself giving him a little nudge because I got really tight on that last run. I just couldn't keep up with him.
I mean, look, you guys were out there fighting like a couple of kids in the back seat of the station wagon. I mean, like, it was impressive to watch. I mean, you were dirt tracking yourselves around, beating and banging. And I said to Moynihan during the last opportunity that I had to talk with him, that it was almost like you guys were racing like it was New Hampshire. That's how much beating and banging there was.
Yeah, we love over here at the JAR TCR team. We love beating the crap out of each other.
Yeah, it's been a long one here tonight at Pocono. And before we cut you loose, who do you need to thank and who do you need to tip your helmet to?
All the guys back on the team, the whole JAR TCR team, man. If it wasn't for them, this running to second to Parker would be extremely demoralizing every week. But they build me up. They keep my head on straight and keep me focused every week. I need to thank the sponsor, Produce Place. If you ever need hoagies, fresh produce, Northgate, Maine, New Jersey, man, we got you hooked up. Every week we got some specials. Check out the Twitter, Facebook page, all that nice jazz. Thank you, Dave, especially for putting on the broadcast. I'm super excited to go back and watch this broadcast. I can only imagine how excited you were with Parker and I beating the crap out of each other. And,
I was screaming my head off.
I can't wait to watch it. And lastly, I want to thank Chris Claude for putting on this league. If it wasn't for him, man, we all wouldn't be here enjoying racing like we do.
All right, man. Well, listen, one more time, congratulations on the P2 finish. Go get them next week, brother.
Yes, sir. Indy, one of my favorite places to go, man. And open up for a lot of strategy if we can keep it green,
Oh, I get it, man. All right, listen, we'll see you next week at Indy.
Yes, sir. See you next week.
And last but certainly not least on our podium, out of Schwanksville, Pennsylvania, Rich Jett. Hey, Rich, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Yes, sir.
Listen, I don't know if you could hear me from Schwanksville. I know it's not that far of a drive from Norristown, but good Lord, what a finish to this piece.
He finally had some luck to finish the race and got third. And he started smoked up pretty good and probably got better as the night went on, thankfully. It was a little not as fast as seemingly in the beginning of the race, but got a little better at the end. The right when I needed it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the cautions came, maybe at an inconvenient time for Parker and Mike, but for you, they came at the best times because it was just enough to keep you ahead of Moynihan. I mean, you had your hands full with that Dunkin' Donuts car behind you, and Godzilla just went ahead and gave him a big old crap right on his hood.
Yeah, forget there was a few restarts before that. I was ahead of him, and he somehow blew by me, and I was like, how the hell did he get way ahead of me? And he was really fast too, but Mike and Parker were really fast too, and they were having a really good race, and it was a pretty good race from everything where I've seen. Just a very nice race all around, I think.
Yeah, I mean, this league, week after week gets better and better, at least in my opinion, and I've been around now for a number of years. And, I mean, just being able to see what you guys do out on the racetrack, it reminds me that I belong up here and not down there with you guys. I mean, 14 starts this season for you with an average finish of 16-1. I mean, this is going to do well for your top fives. Of course, this will be your third top five on the season. What's going to be your motivation to keep digging as we get deeper, toward playoff time?
I was on at least a good 2-month spell where it was a lot of struggle, so I got to put some decent runs together. I'm usually not up there for stage points. I try to save it for the end. Maybe one of the races I'll flip it around and try to get some stage points. So we'll try and work some strategy. And the Xfinity races are a little less laps, and tire sets can always do some different things. So that's what I usually look for, to what else I can do differently, what everyone else isn't doing. That always pays off sometimes.
All right, my man. Well, listen, congratulations on the P3 finish tonight. Before we cut you loose, who do you need to thank for this run?
Thank you guys at the broadcast. Thank Chris for putting on and hosting and being a great admin. All the other admins in all the other leagues. Thank Nick Hansen for not getting too upset at me for blocking them down one of them straightaways. I think it was the only block that I threw all night. That's pretty much it. My other teammates, Wilco and Herring, they didn't get to finish the race, but for the team, I got a decent finish for all of us.
All right, brother. Listen, congratulations as you bring home P3 for the first time since Darlington back in May. Congratulations, and we'll see you next week at Indy.
Thank you.
That, of course, the voice of Schwanksville, Pennsylvania's very own Rich Jett, driver of the Double Natural, that 77 machine. with Godzilla all over it. And folks, what a race we had tonight here at the Tricky Triangle in Pocono. One more tonight, though. One more tomorrow night in the Truck Series. But before we do that and turn our attention that direction, let's take one look at our final results here. Parker Retzlaff finishes here with his 5th win in a row for the number 5. He's joined on the podium by Mike McConville and Rich Jett. Daniel Moynihan and Nick Hansen round out your top 5, while Gabriel Lafreniere finishes in 6th. 7th goes to Sam Bolin with Trent Curtis in 8th, and Michael Pilardi and Logan Giesbrecht holding down the rest of your top 10. 11th position goes to Noah Hamilton, while Matt Mackin and Chris Claude finish in 12th and 13th. Timothy Cook comes home in 14th with Tony Burt, my brother from Christ, finishes in 15th with Chris Custer in 16th. John Bawalda in 17th, and 18th goes to Ben Garrity out of Pittsburgh, PA. Andrew Deemer comes home in 19th, and Richard Pruitt rounds out your top 20. 21st goes to Keith Black with Ron Fitting bringing home 22nd position tonight. Brockton Packard comes home in 23rd with Aaron Mack and Eugenio Alonso in 24th and 25th. 26 goes to Sylvain Jolie and John Wilco out of McAdoo, Pennsylvania on his home track tonight. He comes on home in 27th with Mason Hoffner and Dan Morgan in 28th and 29th. All of a sudden, we look back here to round out your top 30, and Ethan Ball brings home the 96 in 30th position. Steve Herring and Claude Furlan come home in 32nd and 33rd. 34th goes to Diego Rodriguez with Drew Glover, Anthony Savignano, and Kavaja Holt rounding out the rest of the field. It's been an incredible night here in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series. And tomorrow night, of course, we're expecting a lot more exciting racing as the Truck Series descends here in the mountains of beautiful eastern Pennsylvania. And let me tell you, folks, I might talk a little bit of smack, but as I look from above this beautiful racetrack, all I can see is the rolling hills here of the Pocono Mountains, and I am just remembered how beautiful this state is and how awesome the racing is as it goes from nice and quiet on one day to race day the next when we crank up those 8 cylinders of thunder. So for myself, Dave Regal, and everybody else here at Sim Racing Media, I want to thank you for tuning in and making us a part of your evening. And tomorrow and every day as you walk down the road of life, please don't play in traffic. Good night, everybody.